punt of the game, they returned to the 35. So we have a lot of room to grow in all three phases. I do believe that we're continuing to get better in all three phases. We're showing signs of improvement. And I do believe just as we are building this program to where we want it to be, the goal would be, of course, next year at this time to be better on offense, better on special teams, and better on defense.
First time you've seen a top 30 passing offense all year long and defense held up. Was that maybe the best defensive performance of the year, you think, and when you consider the context?
Well, you know, when you go against USC's offense and you hold them to 21 points, that's a huge win, right? Annually, they're always an elite throwing team. Lincoln's going to always have a good passing attack. And with all those skill players they have all over the field, I thought our defense did a really, really good job of keeping the points down. And really, you know, they were able to run the ball in the third quarter. But outside of a couple drives there, I thought that overall our defense performed exceptionally well.
How do you feel Khalid did in his first start at left tackle?
I thought he did well. I thought Khalid did a good job. When you look at our one of our goals for the week last week was to make sure to eliminate negative plays with all of the pressure package that USC brings. And we ended up having, out of 73 snaps, only 4 plays that were negative, and we had 0 sacks. So to stand in there and to have that type of night for Khalid and for the offensive line, I think guard and Enoch did a really good job of helping Khalid in communication. And I think Khalid did a nice job in protection.
Start again Saturday?
I expect him to, yes.
So Max McCree was suited up and had a cast or a brace on. Was he available? Will he be available?
He is available. It's just hard to play with a cast and brace, but he's cleared medically to play. You're just not going to be able to accomplish everything you want to accomplish when you're wearing a cast, and he'll be in that hand cast the rest of the year. So it'll be a matter of he's certainly available for emergency situations, but right now I don't imagine him this week any change in who's starting.
When you took over this team, how long did it take you to realize that Kamari House was ahead of schedule, and what's his best attribute? Is it his foot speed?
With Kamari, we knew about Kamari when we were in Arizona. So, we were aware of his high school tape, and we had guys from Bosco on our team there. And obviously, we recruited that whole Trinity League, except, with T-Mac and Noah and all those guys at Servite, and then the modern day guys and the Bosco guys. So we knew Kamari. We've seen Kamari play live. We knew that I would say his best trait is his instincts, that he's so quick to diagnose plays that then he can be explosive because he's fast. You could clearly see that on the last play on the goal line, right? It was instinctively he was able to diagnose a play and then find an open gap that he could rush through. It probably throughout spring ball you started seeing the energy and the passion that he played with. And then in training camp is when I would say we started deciding as a staff that let's not be afraid to throw in a true freshman in the games, and kind of like we did with Jacob Manu back at Arizona.
When we've seen Landon Hatchett play left guard throughout the season, center as well. Well, what of the thought process to move him to the right side, and then how do you feel he did?
Yeah, I thought he had a really nice game overall. We felt that, our goal is each week to try to put together the best offensive line that we can, and a lot of it has to do with the health of every player up front. And we didn't feel like Enoch, was able to go 70 plays at right guard physically, just based on where he was at. So we felt like Landon would be the right person to land there. Guard was playing well at left guard. And we didn't want to make a change at center. D'Lo's doing a really good job there. So we felt like we put Landon there, and then we let Enoch rotate through. So I think Enoch had 2 or 3, maybe 4 series at guard, but him and really guard Memelar did more of the rotating, and Landon had his best game and probably the game that he played the most amount of reps.
What did you see on the illegal sub call procedure-wise that you want to kind of clean up to avoid that
I
down the
didn't
road?
have to see anything on it. It was just we called the play that there was a miscommunication on the personnel group that we were running the play out of, and one group thought it was a 3-receiver play, one group thought it was a 2 tight end play, and they both went out. So glad that didn't affect the outcome of the game.
You'd said on your radio show, I think, that Quentin Moore won't be back this year. Are you looking at it as a sure thing that he'll be back next season with the red shirt waiver or whatever he needs to do?
Well, I don't think there's any sure thing in college football these days, but as close to a sure thing, it was as the injury as the weeks progressed, and his injury was what it was, that he hasn't been medically cleared to play yet. So it's week 10 now, and he's still not medically cleared. So I think if that continues through the 12 weeks and he's not medically cleared, which I don't think he will be, from what I've been told, then he only had, I think it would be 11 plays, 12 plays. I think it happened, within the first 15, 20 plays of the game. Don't quote me on that, but I think did. And if that was the case, then I feel pretty confident that they don't like to take a person's year away with an injury that happened so early in the season.
But that's definitely what he wants to do and everything. Like he wants to come back.
Yeah, that's all indications.
Jonah had a career high carries, 23. Was that kind of the sense going in that could happen, or was that just the way things kind of developed, you think?
No, we had a sense of that. We talked about after the bye week, we felt like Jonah was getting fresher and fresher. We felt we needed that bye week for Jonah to get back to as healthy as he can be in the season. And with that being the case, we played Indiana. I think he had 19 carries. And then with SC 23. So he's had, I think, back-to-back the 2 most amount of carries he's had. It's just really based upon the volume that he could handle. And there were some games early in the season where he had 11, someone else had 7, someone else had 5, someone else had 4. But we felt as if, where Jonah was physically, where he's at right now, overall, how he's feeling, that he could handle all 20 carries. And then, of course, at the end of the game, our goal is about 20 carries. He had 58 plays in the game. So not just the carries, but in pass game. I know he only had 2 catches for 17 yards, but overall, he had a 58-play game. So that's a pretty substantial amount of reps for a running back. But in the fourth quarter, at the end of the game, I just wanted to make sure that he was in there.
You've obviously, you've spoken about Jeremiah Hunter and his targets before. Are you surprised 9 games in that he only has 25 catches? And is there anything you see now that there is maybe a larger sample of your offense of why the ball hasn't gone his way as much as other guys?
No, I don't think it's anything particularly that I've seen. Rashid is playing more. We're in 12 personnel, and Giles is playing more, so he's not. So Denzel is probably playing, let's call it, not twice as many, but a little bit more than 35%. More reps than probably Jeremiah's in. I'd say Giles is probably the same, in terms of percentage of reps, as Giles and Jeremiah and Rashid are all splitting reps at the different personnel groups at Z. So his opportunities are less. On the same token, I think we've tried to get him the ball at times, and times we have been able to, times we haven't. Times I think he got targeted last week. But also, we're throwing the ball about 35 times a game. And when you're throwing it 35 times a game, and Denzel had 9 catches last week, and Kalecki's stepping up at tight end, and Giles is stepping up at F, and, it just is working that, it's just kind of going that way. And I've been in teams that, Brandon Marshall had 120 catches, and Eddie Royal had 91, and Brandon Stokely had 45 that year. And then another year with Allen Robinson and Allen Hearns and Marquise Lee, all 3 of them had over 50. Last year at Arizona, I think T-Mac and Jacob Cowling both had over 90, and then the Z receiver that year had 30 or so. But the year before with Dorian Singer, he had 67, and T-Mac had 45. So it is what it is in terms of, we don't run the air raid, so we throw it 35 times a game. When you throw it 35 times a game, there's going to be just different guys on different nights getting more catches and less catches.
What are you doing to prepare for 100,000 people watching your football game? I think only a handful of guys on your roster has ever seen anything like that, with the exception of maybe Giles Jackson, who used to be part of it. Does that have a concern for you?
No, it doesn't have a concern. I'm not concerned about it. I think I showed the guys what it looks like a little bit on Sunday night. I showed them some clips of, playing at Penn State at the whiteout. We did it when I was at Michigan. We played in the whiteout game in 2016, I think it was 15. 2015 was the whiteout game. Was that 21-7 or something like that? 28-16 was the final there. And so we did that in 2015. Talked about that a little bit. Talked to him about, showed him some clips of just the energy and the passion that to expect. But on the same token, we've had really great crowds. Every game we've played this year, Iowa was sold out, Indiana was sold out. So, yeah, it's going to be a sellout with double the amount of people as those groups. But in the same token, we just got to go play ball and try to see if we could play the best game we've played all year.
Jonas said at Big Ten Media Day that you guys requested the night out. You asked for the night out. I'm not sure if that's technically true or not, but just speaking to kind of the...
Jonah said that?
Jonah Coleman, yeah.
Is he a part of that meeting? I don't know. Maybe Jonah did, but we were not a part of that meeting, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, but just, did you notice an emphasis in terms of, playing a night game? Did that draw an extra emotions having coached in that game before?
I think playing the night game it's going to be a fantastic experience. If you don't... you got to love football. It's Saturday night and whiteout, and, it's going to be 110, 111,000, I think they had last Saturday. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere, right? There's no question about it. And I think that it's going to be a blast for our guys. You got to deal with the initial wave of just the energy and the momentum, as do people when they come and play us, right? And next Friday night when we're back at home, we need to match that energy and excitement. It's the last game our guys play, right? Senior night, last time Zoe's on the field, last time Bruner's on the field. We need the same energy and excitement. We'll just have 30,000 less people at it, but we'll sell it out just the same. For our guys, I think that they are excited about it. I think you've got to embrace it and love it. And I'm not sure how different it's going to be between the Ohio State-Penn State game and the Penn State-Washington game in terms of how loud the crowd will get. I know they'll be loud, and I know we've got to be ready for that. We've got our speaker system that we bring in for practice when we go on the road. We amp it up. We go as loud as we can go. We've been a lot better since the Washington State game when it comes to our ability to communicate. And year one in the Big Ten, man. Four games, 3 on the East Coast and 1 on Central Time Zone. So, it's certainly been a lot of travel, a new experience, and new opponents, and our guys are excited about it.
Do you think it'll feel more normal, though, given that you are leaving on Friday, which is maybe more traditional for a road game? It's at 5 p.m. Pacific and those sort of things.
Yeah, I think the timing helps. It's kind of the same time as we played Michigan, same time we played SC here, 4:45, 5 o'clock, whatever. Same time as we played Rutgers. Right, so we left the day before for the Rutgers game. We played that Friday night at 8 o'clock. So, but this is a normal week, right? Rutgers week, we still had to leave on a Thursday because it was a Friday night game. This, we're able to have a normal Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then as soon as our normal Friday ends, which is at 10 a.m., we'll go get on the plane and fly. So this trip truly is almost an identical trip to any other road trip we would, although we haven't had any other road trips that we would have if we were still playing the other conference. And when we go against Oregon, it'll be the only difference will be when we play Oregon, we'll leave at 3 p.m. instead of 10 a.m., but the schedule will be exactly the same sans Thanksgiving.
I know Franklin, before the USC game, when they came west, was not complaining, but just acknowledging that they had to drive to Harrisburg to fly out. Are you guys doing the same thing? Going out there?
To fly out.
Yeah.
We're flying into State College, but we have to fly out of Harrisburg. So when the game's over, I think it's like an hour and 20-minute drive. So it'll be a long night with a short week because we play Friday. We'll have to, let's call it the game over at 11:30 or so, and then by the time we probably board the plane, it would be around 2, and then we'll play Friday.
Coach, every time this University of Washington travels to a place with a grass field, it always comes up, and the record hasn't been great. You don't have one to practice on. Yeah. Is it a deal?
I heard that. I heard that that's been a topic here in the past about, we don't have a grass field, so we don't have a grass field. And we just got to go play and figure it out. But there's nothing we can do about it. And we're going right now. So we'll just continue to prepare. We'll be mentally tough enough not to make an excuse about grass versus turf. And we'll do everything we possibly can to execute the best we can. There's about 3 teams in the Big Ten that play on grass, I believe it is. I think it's, UCLA, USC, and then Northwestern and Penn State. I don't know if Northwestern's new stadium will be grass. So, we just got to work it out.
Do you do anything different equipment-wise? Pack extra shoes?
Yeah, we'll pack longer cleats and all the, longer spikes and the grass spikes and some of the things that you would normally do. It looks right now that it won't be raining. So I don't think it'll be as slick of a field as, call it, when Illinois played them earlier in the season where it was raining. But, we just can't make it a part of the conversation, honestly. We have to focus on, being great at the little things, the fundamentals, all of the parts of the program that we're still trying to build and create and see how good we can get.
Ever since the Dempsey Indoor was built, every coach that stood there has been asked about a grass field. Do you want one?
I mean, yeah, I don't know where it would go. I don't. I would love one, but I mean, it's not for me. There are certain things that I focus much more on, and I'm much more in terms of how can we make this building the best building? How can we have a great recovery room? How can we have a great locker room? How can we have great nutrition? Right? How can we make sure that we continue to provide for our players with a great players' lounge? More for me, I'm more along the lines of what can we do facility-wise within this structure that our players can immediately feel impact on. The grass field, while nice, don't get me wrong, I feel as if there's other things right now that are a priority where I know other head coaches felt differently.
You got Russell Davis on the field finally on Saturday. How did he do, and what do you look for him going forward?
He'll be good to go now because of the redshirt rule. We've got 4 games, and the postseason doesn't count any longer. So we'll be able to go with Russell Davis the rest of the year, and still have him still be able to get this year for him to continue to get back, I should say. I think his pass rush, you could see he gave some. He wore out that tackle a little bit at times. And then Lance came in there at the end, but the two of them, I gave Russell a little bit of an assist on that sack because of the amount of great efforts that Russell gave in pass rush. He'll continue to improve. He's gained about 20 pounds. He's at 234 right now. Came in here at 214 and 212, I think, and actually came into college at 190. So in 3 years, he's up 44 pounds. He'll help us.
So when he was dressed for some of these games, he was just redshirting, but wearing the uniform just the same, right?
Yeah, just like, anybody, the redshirting rule doesn't go into effect until the season's over. You don't know. You then determine who's redshirted or not. Now, if you don't play anybody for the first 8 games of the year, then that's their redshirt. And then they get 4 games. So you can go games 1 through 4. You can go games 1, 3, 9, 11. Doesn't matter. You get 4 games prior to being redshirted.
Could have played him is the question. He just decided,
let's
save the red shirt.
He wasn't healthy enough the first 7. And then 8 and 9, or what was it, 8? Yeah, he wasn't healthy the first 7. And then 8 he just came back from injury.
Expect Mikel Esteen to play this week?
What's that?
Mikel Esteen.
Yeah, I do expect Mikel to play.
You mentioned going 4-for-4 in the red zone against USC. Will Rogers said after the Indiana game that the problem was just drive stalling. I know being at home helps with communication too, but what else do you think helped you guys finish drives against USC?
Yeah. Well, I still always frustrated. You know, we've been 7 for 7 in the red zone the last 2 weeks, but the problem's been, you know, we still had to play it. We were 3rd and 7, 4th and 7 on the 30-yard line. We didn't get in there. We had the possessions prior. We had the one time we kicked a field goal in the red zone this past week. We had a false start. So, you know, I still want to clean up some of those. It is football, so not every time you get down there you're going to score, although it would be nice. Not every time you're going to get past the 40 you're going to score any points. USC felt that with our defense this past week. The first 2 drives of the game, I think Lincoln talked about that. But, you know, we just got to continue to improve. Year 1, new program, new offense, new defense, new special teams, 11 new players on offense that weren't really participants at all. The system's new. What we're asking them to do is different. They're trying to all pick up a whole new scheme against all new opponents, that there are no common opponents from a year ago until yesterday. So I think and then Wazoo week 3. So I think that our guys are beginning to understand, you know, that what the expectation is. And I also feel as if it does take time to build it. And the more you're able to get the details right and your execution right in those situations of 3rd down and red zone, those are the last ones to come together, because those are the toughest ones.
You mentioned Russell Davis. Seemed like your pass rush was very effective, even if they didn't register a sack. What did you like from them, and kind of how do you see them moving forward as the season goes on?
I thought Ward did a good job pass rushing. Thought Davis did a good job. Holtzclaw obviously came in the last play, did a good job. Void does a fantastic job. You know, Jacob Lane, I don't know what, you know, him and Deshaun Lynch, I don't think they had too many reps in this past game, just based on the way the offense their offense plays. But, you know, we had a plan. We had a plan on how we wanted to rush them. And I think we executed that plan. And sometimes it just might be hits. Sometimes it might be forced turnovers. That was, you know, we took the ball away. We had 3 interceptions. We had another dropped interception, which, you know, could have put it at 4. We had, you know, a chance to get a punch out because we had an extra guy in the coverage. So I think we rushed them well, and I think we were able to execute the plan we wanted to there. Okay? See you on Thursday. Thanks.